something progressive Christians, actually any religion, progressive Muslims, progressive Jews that I've interacted with don't seem to understand as a hurdle for what they're proposing is not only the theological difficulties of trying to change the doctrine of faiths that have consistently taught one thing for a long time, but the sociological problem that's presented by that. What do I mean? I cannot identify, and if I'm wrong, someone should correct me in the comments. There is not a single religion in the whole world that has sociologically been successful, which does not bill itself in some way as a return to a truth that was always understood, or at least that there was some moment in history where God, or whatever the religious deity is, delivered something once for all for believers, and that is the purity of the faith. Even restorationist Christians, or this is going to be controversial, like Pentecostals, right? Who, in my opinion, and I think in a lot of people's opinions, are doing a version of Christianity that was not really practiced ever, claim that their version of Christianity was what was actually practiced in the first 100 years. Mormons do the same thing with Christianity. Muslims say, oh, actually the religion we have is a religion that Abraham had. Actually, all the Abrahamic religions, hence being called Abrahamic, say that their religion is what Abraham was practicing. Why? Well, I think it has to do with a sociology of confidence, a sociology of trust and faith, that this is something to hang on to because it stood the test of time. The idea that the religion you're subscribing to has just changed is always going to introduce a crisis of confidence in whether or not that's true. Because if God really believed in Anglicanism, let's say, but Anglicans were wrong for 1800 years, 1900 years on whether or not women can be priests or whether or not gay marriage is sinful, then how can I trust any of the doctrines of this purported church, say that be the Episcopal Church, or any other religion, if they can just radically change what is the teaching, the clear teaching from before to now? Someone might say, oh, but Roman Catholic Church changes what they teach all the time. And as a Protestant, I believe that. But at least the Roman Catholics say, oh, actually, this is what the church has always taught. You can argue with them at the death penalty, but the faithful Roman Catholic is going to say, no, this is authentically the doctrine of the church. And it was, here's the nuances. Here's how this is contiguous. Same thing happens with Mormons when they change. The only sociological religions that can endure radical changes in doctrines are cults, right? If there's a cult leader who's randomly changing everything, the only way that he can ensure people remain within the cult is through social manipulation. And I'm not saying that mainline churches or whatever are manipulating people, but the fact that they're not manipulating people is why they're rapidly shrinking, because there's just nothing dogmatic at all about being a mainline Christian.